Hello everyone, welcome to my first free session for SET and EST basics and test solving with teacher Shuru Ismail. Okay, today this session will serve those who study or prepare for the SET for grades 10, 11 and 12. Let's start right away. Our portion today or our session today gonna talk about vocabulary in context questions. Let's see what we mean by this. Vocabulary in context. Let's start. We're going to learn its definition, principle, strategies, hard words, and the practice. Okay, let's see. Let's come to the definition first. What do we mean by vocabulary in context questions? We actually mean that we have a sentence that asks you about the meaning of one word, and you need to refer to the passage to find its direct meaning or the straightforward meaning that is used by the author. So, it is a straightforward question. You have a word in a context, and maybe you have a line reference, so you even know where the word lies in these sentences or in these lines, and you actually have to go to this word and figure out its meaning according to the context. That's why we say it's a straightforward question. So what is the difference between this and the other questions? We have other questions that need your understanding of the whole passage, okay? Which actually makes it like you need, like the big picture question or main idea question, you need to understand the whole passage, which makes it hard somehow. But if we come to vocabulary in context question, you find that you need to find or figure out the meaning of the word that is in front of you, which makes it, as we said before, a straightforward question or a direct question. Okay. Here, let's come to the types of vocabulary in context question. Type number 1. We have here the meaning. We are asked about the meaning of one word. This word might be the common word, which is like this is going to be a very easy question for you. Or it might be you are asked about the meaning of a more challenging meaning that is not common for you, that you didn't maybe see before. This is type number 1. About type number 2, you are not here asked about the meaning of a word. You are actually asked about the meaning of short phrases. What do we mean by short phrases? We mean that you are asked about the meaning of a group of words acting together or functioning together to give you a certain meaning. And actually, this is gonna be not a literal meaning or non-literal meaning. So it's not gonna be very direct. Okay? Okay, let's move on. Let's come to the principle of this kind of question. You need to know something. When you are tested in SET about vocabulary in context question, you need to know that you are not asked about the meaning that you used to study in English classes before, or that you didn't study in the dictionary before. So that's the first question you're going to ask me. So what am I going to be asked about in it? You are going to be asked about its meaning based on the context right in front of you. What does this mean? This means that you are going to look for the context here, to understand the context of that surrounds this word, so you can understand the meaning of this word that it serves, okay, according to the whole context. So the meaning of this word gonna be based on its context here, gonna be based on the context. So it's not gonna be based on your previous study. So don't depend on your previous study to understand or to choose the meaning of the word. Why? Because if it comes to College Board, it's not gonna ask you about a meaning that you used to study before. So you are asked about the depth of your understanding of this context. How do they measure this depth? They measure it by such a question. Vocabulary in context question. Okay, very nice. So I'm tested in the meaning that the author here wants to use this word to give, regardless to the meaning of the dictionary. I'm asked about how the author used this word, and it's very important to notice this. The author used to give this meaning, or to give a meaning using this word. It's not according to its meaning according to the definitions in the dictionary. So nice. Let's continue. Now we have a note. When it comes to vocabulary in context question, let's see this example. If it comes to a verb like spill, usually when you say spill a liquid or spill anything, any kind of liquid, like to knock over and it spills on the floor or something like this, you are not going to be asked about this direct meaning that you actually studied before many times. You are going to be asked about another meaning which is not common according to the context or according to what the author wants this verb to mean. Okay, so we need, while we are going to deal with the vocabulary in context question, to figure out its meaning according to what the author wants, not according to what we actually studied before. Let's see how. Now, we need some strategies or a strategy to answer this kind of question. Let's try. Here, number one, when it comes to answering this question, never look at the answer choices first. This is not the first step you do. Why? Because if you do this and you go to look at the answer choices first, you might be tricked. And that is not what we want. Okay? Okay, number two, we need to spot or to locate this word in the context. I'm asked about a word. I need to search for this word in its context. Okay? Number three, I need to read the sentence that includes the word. And not only this sentence, I might need to read two sentences before, one sentence before, and one sentence after. So I understand the whole context. I can understand the whole context. This is what determines meaning, as we said. And after this, I need to think about the parts of speech. Is it a verb? Is it a subject? Is it a noun? Okay, is it? So I need to figure out this. Why? Why do I need to figure out this? So I can use process of elimination. If this word is a noun, okay, so if I have verbs in the answer choices, I eliminate them or I just cross them out, so I will not choose them without even looking at them or at their meaning or whatever. If I have vice versa, okay, a verb, or if, so I find out this part of speech can serve in what? In eliminating some of the answers that I don't need. Okay, very nice. Now let's continue. We need to find out if this sentence claim place positive or negative. What do we mean? Our context in this passage that includes this word, does it imply positive or does it have a negative tone? If it has a positive tone and I have an answer choice that gives me a negative tone, so I need to cross this answer choice right away. But if it has a negative tone and I have an answer choice that gives me a positive tone, actually I'm gonna eliminate it right away. Why? Because I'm looking for, okay, the same tone. Okay, so this will serve me a lot when it comes to vocabulary in context question. Okay. After this, come with a word out of your mind if you can. If you can't, it's okay. If I can find a synonym to this word out of my mind, this will help me. But if I can't, this will mean that I will go to the next step, which is I plug in the answer choices that I have after crossing the negative or the opposite tone choices, and I start to plug in the answer choices that I think they may fit. And I need again to depend on the context to see whether the choices that I put or plugged in serve the meaning, right, or they don't serve. If the answer choice serves or fits, it means that this is the right answer. If it doesn't fit, it means that is the wrong answer. I'll just eliminate it right away. Let's have examples for what we are explaining. Here we have a passage. The following passage is adapted from Susan B. Anthony's remarks to the Women's Auxiliary Congress of the Public Press Congress, May 23rd, 1893. So the first thing I notice about is that the author here or the writer is a woman. Okay, and as long as it's a woman, so she's talking about some of women's rights, just without thinking about. Okay, and this happens in the past. I still have here is 1893, which means it's the 19th century. Okay, so this is the 19th century. So I'm talking about something which is historical, something which is not modern, not that modern. Okay, so here, Mrs. President and sisters. Okay, start here. We need to add some annotations to make it better. So we're gonna just here insert, like to insert the text. We need to insert the text here. Okay, so I'll just read first and then move. Okay, so here, let's start reading the passage right away. Here, Mrs. President and sisters. I might almost say daughters. Out of this, you can understand that she's old in age. Here, I cannot tell you how much joy, this is an important word here for me to understand the tone, has filled my heart as I have sat here listening to these papers. Actually, from the beginning, I can understand the tone is positive. Okay, to these papers and noting those characteristics that made each in its own way beautiful, masterful, still the tone is positive. I would in no ways listen means reduce, negative of negative gives us positive. The importance of these expressions by your various representatives, but as you know, these words, transition words are important. I want to say that the words that specially voiced, let's come to the question here, as used in line 8 here, voiced most nearly means. When it comes to answering such a question, I don't read these words as used, okay, and I read only line 8, voiced means. About this I don't read, this I don't read. These are only for the test. I don't need them. I need this. These are the two words I'm going to take off. Line 8, the word voiced and means. Now, as we said, we never look at the answer choices, okay, in the beginning. Now I understand my target. I want to find the word voiced in the passage. It said line 8. This is line 8. Okay, voiced. What I may call the upgush of my soul were to be found in the paper read by Mrs. Swamp. Let's come to one by one, bit by bit. Here, words. What about them? Were voiced. I understand that this word is a verb. Actually looking for a verb. Okay, what I may call the upgush of my soul. She says the upgush of her soul. These words expressed what is inside her, what is deep inside her. Okay, so she means her thoughts and feelings were to be found in the paper read by Mrs. Swan on the newspaper as a factor of civilization. So let's come here to this word again. I need a word, okay? She wants something to mean like to express. Words that specially expressed what I may call the upgush of my soul. Let's come to the answer choices. First thing, we said that here the tone is positive. Let's have a look here at the first one here. The first answer choice recorded. And actually we're talking about, as we said previously, the 19th century. At that time we didn't have even any kind of recording, so this answer is eliminated. I will not look at it. Come to letter B, Rose. Let's think about it. Words don't rise. Okay, so the meaning here doesn't fit. Words don't rise. So when I plugged it in, it didn't work. Okay, so I just crossed it out. Strained. What does it mean here? Like to strain something. Strained means like when I say their relationship got strained, or it means that the relationship isn't good any longer. They are not getting along together, which means its context or its tone is, this one is negative. Why is it negative? Because, again, as I said, if I say strained, this act strained the relationship, so it made it not well. It just damaged it. So this one is negative against my tone. Again, it's the tone here. The tone is positive and this one is negative. So I will not think about it either. You don't need to think about it. Let's come to choice D. Conveyed. Conveyed. We can actually use convey to mean express, which means that this is a suitable answer for me and this is the right choice. Why? Because convey can mean express, and I need a word that like express to give the meaning of voice. Let's put it here, let's plug it in, but I want to say that the words that specially conveyed, expressed what I may call the upgush of my soul were to be found in the paper read by Mrs. Swan. Does it fit? Yes, it fits, and it fits perfectly. So this is the right one that I need. So my answer choice is convey. Okay? Very nice. Let's have one more example. The following passage, the same passage that we read before. Let's come here to the question. Again, I will not read this as used in. I don't need this. My clue words, line 31. Concerned, this is the word that I need to find in the context. Forget about most nearly, I don't need it. I want its meaning. So these are my clue words. This is what I actually read in the question. But about the rest, I don't look at them because I don't want anything that wastes my time. These are time wasters. We don't need them. Okay? So let's come to line number 31. Remember our tip? We said that we don't read starting from line 31. So where should we start? We need to start before it. Okay? If you have time, you can start from this paragraph, and I prefer to start from this paragraph because we need to have some more explanation. Well, I have been sitting here. Who's talking still? This woman who's called Susan. Been sitting here, I have been thinking. So she's thinking about something that we have made strides, means big steps in journalism. Okay, so again, she's talking about women and how they made great steps in history, in journalism in the last 40 years. I recall means I remember the first time I ever wrote for a paper. So she's writing her own reflection about her personal experience. The periodical was called The Lily, the name of this newspaper. It was edited, and quite appropriately, by a Mrs. Bloomer. Here means a woman called Mrs. Bloomer. Okay? The next paper to which I contributed was the Yana. That's the second paper or the second newspaper she worked in. Okay, all of this just to deepen our knowledge. These two journals were the only avenues, the only way women had through. So again, as we said, the author is a woman. So she's talking about women and their achievements or their rights. Had through which to face themselves in type to any extent worthy of note before the war. The press was as kind as it knew how to be. It meant well and did all for us it knew how to do. We couldn't ask it to do more than it knew how. But, again, transition, okay, that was little enough. I tried an experiment, editing. Again, she's talking about another personal experience, especially about her. Editing a newspaper myself. I started a paper and ran it. Ran here means managed. For 2 years at a vast cost to everyone concerned in it. This is the word I'm asked to figure out its meaning according to my context. As we said, in this kind of question, we are asked to figure out the meaning of a word according to its context. So, concerned. So we're talking about everyone. So we're talking about members or people concerned in it. I started a paper, a newspaper, and ran it, managed it for 2 years at a vast cost to everyone concerned that have to do, linked, related, okay, in it. Let's come to the answer choices here. Here, do you think the tone here, is it positive or negative? Actually, we're talking about a newspaper and people somehow linked to it, and they are working and achieving and having an achievement. So, which means it is a positive. It is a positive again. Tone. Start with the first one. Worried. Actually, the word concern can come to mean worried. But still here, this meaning is the most common meaning, and this is the most famous trick that happens in this question. It comes to you with the common meaning that you know and you studied many times before. But is it the targeted meaning? No, it isn't. Why isn't it the targeted meaning? Because actually this meaning is negative, worried. Okay. And here the tone is positive. So this one will not work here. This is the most common meaning, but it's not the answer. So I have to figure out where the answer is. Okay, let's come to B here, involved. I'll leave it a little. Bothered, again, is negative, so I don't need it. But again, I'm talking about a positive tone. Okay, altered, which means changed. If I say everyone altered it in it, actually, we are not talking about any kind of change that they are doing. We are actually talking about they are starting a newspaper and they are doing work in it, okay? And people were attached to it. So we don't talk about any kind of change here. So this one doesn't serve. What about this one here? Let's come. When I come to the context, I started a paper and ran it for 2 years at a vast cost to everyone involved in it. So actually it can serve right and it is a suitable meaning here. So this is the best answer choice and that is actually the right answer choice that we can use here to mean this one. Thank you for your listening and watching this session, and I hope that you enjoyed it or find it beneficial. I will appreciate it if you give me some of your reviews or feedback or opinion or things that you need to be explained for you in the next free session. And thank you so much.